Hey, I'm Al McGhee with YETicket.com. I'm here with my buddy Steve Lebowitz with MovieNight.net.
That's
How you
right.
doing today, Steven?
I'm doing good, Al. How about yourself?
Good, man. Well, as you can see that in the background, I got Elvis up. That's what we're going to talk about. That new film starring Tom Hanks and Austin Butler. Austin Butler plays Elvis, and Tom Hanks plays his manager. Man, this guy, Colonel Tom Parker, which you learn in the film a whole lot about him. And everybody always said, why did Elvis always keep him around? Well, this film is from the point of view of Colonel Tom Parker, not Elvis' point of view. So that's why I enjoyed this film, because I learned a little bit something about Colonel Tom Parker. I've always been an Elvis fan, I'm gonna admit that, ever since I was a little kid, So what do you think of the movie, Stephen?
I enjoyed the movie too. I learned a lot about Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker, of course, who, as we find out, was really toxic. That he was in Elvis's life. There was a thing that, in a way, people say Parker kind of killed Elvis by putting him in the position he was in. Although he contends, no, I didn't kill Elvis. I made Elvis.
Yeah, I like that he said he made Elvis. And, they got books about Colonel Tom Parker and books on Elvis, too. But Elvis kept him around, according to this film, because Colonel Tom Parker made him money, made him rich, and made him famous. But let's talk about some of the parameters in this film. One of them was, well, it showed that in this film that Elvis, he had some Black friends. He hung around with Black people for a moment, but he also listened to Black music, and he used Black music in his songs. Now, also, it shows that the state of Mississippi did not like Elvis because he was too Black, or he was being too Black. Or they was going to arrest him for that.
Actually, I think the really thing wasn't that he was acting that way. It's more the fact that he was associating with Black people, and the fact that that he had Black friends, which back then was a very big segregated state. So the fact that he was sort of embracing that culture, that music, I think that's what really sort of made Elvis a target for those people back then.
And also, he's doing according to them too, according to this film, he's doing a Black style of dancing too, with the music also, because they didn't want Elvis to shake him hips and things like that.
Hips. yes, that was bad, Elvis. We were doing that.
and Colonel Tom Parker saw him and said, "Look, you don't want to go to jail. Join the military, and this will be over with." And that's what Colonel Tom Parker did for him. But let's talk about some of the acting. Did Austin Butler convince you that he was Elvis?
He was a very good Elvis to me, Al. I thought he was very good. But at the same time, I kind of got a sense of this. Sometimes I thought he was doing a little bit of channeling John Travolta, not Elvis. I mean, there was sometimes, instead of saying Colonel Parker, I thought he was going to say Mr. Carter.
That's funny. But also, I like the director. I like what he was trying to do, Baz Luhrmann. I thought what he did with this film was very good. And you're right. I think Austin Butler did a great Elvis, the way he shot it and the way he put it together, the director.
I thought Luhrmann did some great work. I mean, he's done movies like Moulin Rouge and The Great Gatsby before. But I like the way he shot the movie. I like the way the editing worked. There was a great transition of going between like the past and the present, and it was really smooth. I like how he just went back to his childhood, back to the adulthood, and without making it too confusing. I thought it was like a great transitions back and forth.
I did too.
A lot of times when they sort of go between past and present, you sometimes get confused as an audience member of where a director is taking it, and that didn't happen for me this time. He did it. It was really a nice, great, thorough story. I thought he presented the story very well. And of course, Tom Hanks is great in his role too. He'll probably find himself another Oscar nomination. I see this getting.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I think he'll get an Oscar nomination. Other things, I would, two other categories which are not big ones, but I think will get nominated too, is makeup and costume design.
And I think sad also because it made me believe that wherever they were at, they were there. But we must admit, though, this film did eliminate a lot of things about Elvis. You know, he was a staunch Republican. They didn't talk about when he was there with Richard Nixon. Of course, you know, they didn't talk about his affairs. They just said he had some affairs and things like that. They left all of that out.
But like you said at the very beginning, now this really wasn't a lot of Elvis's story from his point of view. This was Colonel Parker's story from his point of view.
Well, I think this is where people are going to get confused about when they watch this film, because it is entitled Elvis, but it is from the eyes of Colonel Tom Parker, who knew everything.
Right. So I mean, it's Elvis's story, but from Parker's point of view. So this is not really like a straight biography film like we've seen recently with like Queen or Elton John. So it's not like a story about him from their point of view. It's from this man's point of view who's really hated, and justifiably so. And it's sort of like giving his take. So it's a very interesting way to make this film, and it's a brave decision, and I think it works for it. I think if you just told a straight Elvis story, Elvis point of view, and this guy Colonel Parker's just in it, I don't know if it is as successfully told as this one.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. And that's why they left out a lot of that stuff, because again, it's from the point of view of Colonel Tom Parker. But we got to learn about this guy, Colonel Tom Parker, that he wasn't a citizen and things like that. Man, this guy got away with a hell of a lot.
Yes, and that's because Elvis always wanted to do a world tour, but if he left the country, he couldn't really leave the country. So that's why he sort of manipulated Elvis to do this like 5-year Vegas contract instead of doing a world tour like Elvis wanted. So he really manipulated Elvis to do what he wanted him to do. That was really best for Colonel Tom Parker, not necessarily what was best for Elvis.
Yeah, man. And also, according to Colonel Tom Parker, no one was looking out for Elvis. No one. Man, I really kind of felt sorry for Elvis. But like I said, I've always been a big fan of Elvis. I like his music. Yeah, at one point it got a little corny, and his movies got a little corny too. I saw every Elvis movie, every one of them, even the bad ones, like Harem Scarum. And man, this guy really changed rock and roll. He really changed music a little bit. He really did.
Oh, his nickname of the King has always been well earned. Elvis was really a little bit before my time, and I was a child when he passed, so I didn't really know Elvis, or when the news came that he died, it certainly didn't register for a kid. But I can understand where his fan base came from and how he became as popular as he was, and his influence on the industry.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm a little bit older than you, so I do remember. I really do. So, how do you rate this film?
3 swords out of 4 for me, Al.
And same thing, 3 palm trees out of 4 for Elvis. I really enjoyed this, and and the reason I'm giving it 3 palm trees, it's an entertaining movie. That's really what it is. And that's why I love movies that entertain me. And they did that job for me, entertaining me with this film, Elvis.
Yeah, and I gave it 3 also because it is a 2-hour and 40-minute film, and there were times
it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, but no, to me actually sometimes certain points I thought, okay, this is getting a little long here. We can like sort of get to the next scene. This one's being a little drawn out here and there. I understand the length, but I could have been, I could have had 10 minutes cut out for myself.
Well, of course, but soon when you make your film, you know what to do.
Right. Oh, I'll make a nice 90-minute flick so everyone can get in and out.
I know. Well, Elvis, we both enjoyed it. We both gave it 3, score of 3 from 4. And we thought Tom Hanks did a very good job. Excellent. And not only that, the director did too. And also Austin, he played a good Elvis, a very good Elvis. Well, Steven, thank you for coming to yeticket.com. I really appreciate it.
Oh, he's supposed to come over, Al.
Oh yeah, and you can get Steven at Movie Night. That's movie KNIGKHINGT
Yes.
night.net.
Movienight.net. Come on down.
Don't get those confused.
Right.
Thank you very much, buddy.
No problem, Al.
All right.